All right. I need to see how this works. So, y'all, I don't really know. Um, Let me get myself together because this is interesting. This is a new space, a new space, a new space. So, yeah. Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. I feel like I need some music or something in the background. Let me play some music or something because. Okay. How's everybody doing out there? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Um, it has been a great day hanging out. The weather is nice. Everything is going well. So I just wanted to do a live to come on, first of all, and say thank you all for your love and support, for sharing in my new venture, You Shall Overcome, the book. So I am super excited about what God is doing, about what He has done, about what's yet to manifest. Um, I'm looking forward to the book actually getting to my hands, and so that I can, you know, sign and distribute to those who have already participated in the pre-sale. With that said, thank you to everyone who has already purchased their copy or already reserved their copy. I truly do appreciate your love and support. And for those who did not have the opportunity to participate in the pre-sale, I have great news. And the news is pre-sale is still going on. And so there is still an opportunity for you to reserve your autographed copy, which is good because I didn't want to leave anybody out. And so with that, the book is still available to pre-order and reserve your copy. You can go to the website, youshallovercome.com, youshallovercome.com to reserve your copy. And so what I wanted to do was read a little bit out of the book just so that you guys know what it is that you're going to get. The Lord has really, really, really worked mightily through me in writing this book. And I did go through a myriad of emotions while writing this book. I had to revisit some stuff, relive some stuff, and things of that nature. And it was just, I cried through it. I mean, I laughed through some of it. Sometimes smiling, sometimes frowning. It was beautifully difficult, I will say, to write this book. It was beautifully difficult. And the reason why it was beautiful was because I had an opportunity to share some things that I had been holding in for so long. I had the opportunity to express the emotions that I felt about some things that I had gone through. And what God has given me the ability to do was to be a voice for those who have had like traumas and like experiences, who did not quite know how to articulate what they were feeling. And so in the Lord giving me to write the book, He has given me the ability to express and to articulate the emotions associated with trauma. certain traumatic events. You know, I can't vouch for any other community because I'm of the Black community, clearly, right? And so the teaching has been what happens in this house stays in this house, and in that, the voice of many had been taken away regarding things that they were experiencing that they should not have been experiencing at the hands of people who they were trusting. And so we have a community of individuals who are now adults who have experienced childhood trauma, and they are, for lack of a better term, kind of locked into that, and that little girl or that little boy is still trapped inside of the individual who's now grown. And because there has not been a space or a platform provided for the little girl and the little boy to express themselves, because, you know, in the community that I grew up in, we were children and we stayed in a child's place, and a child didn't have nothing to say to an adult, and conversations between adults and children weren't really fostered in some households, and how to have that dialogue was not cultivated. And so as a result, again, things lay hidden, and there are grown men and women who have experienced childhood trauma who have not had the opportunity to express what was going on. And so in writing this book, God has given me the ability to be the voice for those people, to be the voice for the voiceless, to be the voice for the one who has experienced certain traumatic events and did not have a place or a platform to share those experiences. And so that's the reason why I said it was beautifully difficult. It was beautiful because I get the opportunity to provide a voice for the voiceless. It was beautiful because I get the opportunity to kind of put into words what we were feeling and what we were experiencing. It's beautiful because I now have language for what I went through when it was initially happening, or when I was initially experiencing what I was experiencing. I didn't have language for that. But difficult because I had to allow myself to feel those emotions and then try to express them in written form. It's one thing to sit and talk to someone and share a story, or share an event, or share how something, you know, made you feel or what you felt. But it takes on a total different, it's a totally different thing, when you try to articulate that in written form. And it's very difficult to try to convey the emotion when you're writing, because when you're writing, you know, all the reader has is what's written on paper. And to try and capture the emotion in written form so that your reader can kind of come into the space where you are, can come into the space of your emotion, can kind of tap into the emotion that you were experiencing. That's the difficult part. And I believe that God has given me exactly what was needed to pull individuals into that space, not just those who were on the experiencing end of it, but those who know people who have experienced it. And I believe that God is using me for a voice in this time, in this season, to express the emotion, the roller coaster, the ups, the downs of traumatic experiences, and not just to express the emotion, but also an avenue for healing, how to go about healing of the experience, how to go about forgiving people who have wronged you, how to go about forgiving those who have betrayed you, how to forgive people who you thought were on your side, only to find out that they were opportunists and were seeking opportunity to take advantage of you in one form or another. And so, yeah, that's the gist of the book. And again, I wanted to thank you for those who have had the opportunity to purchase to purchase your copy, your signed copy. I wanted to thank you. And for those who haven't had the opportunity, I wanted to let you know that this is not a book that you don't need on your bookshelf. It's definitely necessary. It's definitely warranted. It's definitely needed. And I believe that God is going to do something amazing through what it is that he has allowed me to write. And so I just wanted to share just some bits and pieces, if I may, to share some of the writing. Now, of course, I'm not going to read the whole book, right? Because if I did that, then there would be no need for you to buy the book. So I'm just going to share a little bit out of some of the places, in the book. And there's a section called Behind Bars. And it reads as this: have you ever had to alter who you were to protect your real self, or not show your authentic self out of fear of being hurt or taken advantage of? What barriers have you put in place to keep yourself guarded? What walls have you erected? My cover up was not having regard for my life or the lives of others. On one hand, I was a protector, yet on the other hand, I had no regard for life. Well, that's what I wanted people to believe. The alteration of who we are, the barriers, the walls, the lack of regard for life are all defense mechanisms, specifically reaction formation. According to Psychology Today, reaction formation is defined as behaving or expressing the opposite of one's true feeling. I'm reminded of a portion of truth found in the Bible that states, the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. Did you read that? Let me explain what was just stated in this text. The enemy, Satan, the devil, doesn't show up unless it's to steal something from us, kill us, or perhaps kill something in us, or even to destroy us. This is his entire agenda. He's not showing up for any other reason. And because I didn't know any better, I had no idea that this reaction formation was part of the subtle plan of the enemy to destroy my future. And why did I read that? Well, I read that because we have to understand that creating alternate personalities or creating alter egos is not how we should be dealing with situations and circumstances. We should not be sweeping things under the rug and altering who God has created us to be just to hold on to a secret of something that has happened to us. It indeed is and has always been the plan of the enemy for him to destroy us. And although, for whatever reason, it's not really widely accepted, but we really are in a spiritual battle. And part of the things that we experience in life is the result of the enemy wanting to destroy the future that God has planned for us. And so what we tend to do sometimes is get stuck at the place where, this person did what they did, this person said what they said, they made me feel how they made me feel, without taking into consideration the spiritual aspect of things. And so what God has allowed me to do in You Shall Overcome is share some of the spiritual aspect of things, the other side of things, because we see the natural. We see how it makes us, act out. We see how it makes us feel. We see, these things, but the Lord has given me the opportunity to share the other side of the coin so that we can understand who is really behind the trauma that we have experienced. And not only to share who is behind the trauma that we've experienced, but also teach us how to, through um, his word, how to combat that, how to combat that. And unfortunately, we have trusted people in our lives um, who ended up betraying that trust, whether it be a spouse, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, sometimes, bosses, leadership, or whatever. There are elements of trust that we have to look at, and how sometimes our trust is betrayed, not because people are intentionally doing so, but because we had a level of expectation of them and the expectation wasn't met. And so we feel as though we have been betrayed and that the trust has been broken. Even in something as small as that, the enemy can take that and use that against us to cause us to not trust in other areas of our lives. And so we end up being people, if we're not careful, who just end up with trust issues, period, because we then lump everybody in the box and put everybody in the same category. And because we couldn't trust one person over here on this side, now we just can't trust nobody because, we put everybody in that box. And unfortunately, there have been some things that some young women and young men, even young girls and young boys, have experienced where trust was betrayed and trust was broken. And the enemy has taken that and used that against us, to where, again, we wouldn't reach our fullest potential in God. Let's see. From the beginning, there was an agenda to overpower and overtake the weakest in the house. This is how the enemy works. He is so, and that was me. You see, I was the youngest female. Everybody else was grown and of an age where they would not have been so easily taken advantage of and overpowered. And this is how the enemy maneuvers. It's kind of like, if you have ever watched the Animal Planet, you see how when lionesses are hunting and they're hunting for their children and they see a smaller animal out of the pack, that's the one they tend to go for. They tend to go for the one that they have already made up in their mind is going to be the easiest to take down, the easiest to catch, the easiest prey, the one who will potentially offer the least resistance, the one that they won't have to work so hard to get. And that is exactly how the enemy hunts. That's exactly how he does. He seeks for the easy pickings. He seeks for those who appear to be the weakest. Thank you, Kyla. He seeks for those who appear to be the weakest in the bunch. And this is exactly a situation that I found myself in, being the smallest, being the youngest, being the weakest. I was the easiest target. I was the easiest target. I was the one who would pose the least resistance and the least challenge. So I was the easier one to intimidate, the easiest one to take advantage of. And he did just that. He did just that. And for so long, I had this mindset. I had this, I just had this mindset about me and this way about me as a result of what had taken place. And so I didn't have a voice. My voice was taken. And before I was even old enough to understand the art of communication. I wasn't given a safe space to share feelings and experiences. So as a result, the safest place for what was going on or what I had experienced was inside. So I bottled everything inside, like most of us do. I internalized the pain. I internalized everything, and I didn't share. I didn't say anything. So let me, I was, initially, it was, the analogy is drowning in silence. And so um, the situation was dealt with as best as possible. And even though I was rescued from the physical clutches of the enemy, excuse me, more was necessary. I felt like the victim of a drowning. It was as if I was submerged underwater for longer than my air supply would allow, struggling to keep my airway clear of water. I felt like I had held my breath as long as I could. I felt like I had begun aspirating and my lungs had started to fill up with water. Eventually, I went unconscious. The moment when I lost consciousness was the moment when the door was beat down and my help barged in. I was pulled out of the deep waters and lay in a safe space. However, not having the conversation I desperately needed to have was like the drowning victim being pulled out of the water and not being administered CPR. So we know the purpose of CPR is to get and keep oxygenated blood flowing to the body and to the brain. And without this flow of blood and oxygen, the person could end up in cardiac arrest and eventually die. I was only partially rescued. Looking back, I realized that this wasn't just a physical experience. It was a whole being experience. My mind was violated. My emotions were violated. My thought patterns were violated. My perception of protection, love, and trust was altered. And it showed up in the days, weeks, months, and years to come. God has done a work with this book. He has done a work with this book. But the good news is, no matter what we have experienced, no matter the situation we find ourselves in, no matter how traumatic the experience, no matter how traumatic the event, it doesn't matter who comes, who goes, and none of that matters as much as the fact that we always overcome. But the challenge is reshaping our mindset. The challenge becomes reshaping our thought processes, reshaping how we see things, and looking at things from a position of, you know what, yeah, this happened, but I did make it out. I might not have made it out unscathed. I might not have made it out unscarred. I might have made it out still cut and bleeding, but I made it out. And when we can shift our perspective to looking at things from a position of I've made it out. I made it out with my life. I made it. I made it out, but and I might have been on broken pieces, but I made it out. When we can look at things from that perspective, then we can really begin and tap into the journey of overcoming. Then we can really tap into um, the healing process that is necessary for some of this stuff, because some of this stuff we've just been carrying it around just for so long because what do I do with this? How do I deal with this? And what we are going to find in You Shall Overcome is how to navigate those experiences. Regardless to the experience, we're going to find in this book tools on how to navigate these experiences, on how to shift our perspective and see things through different lenses, and how not to just see things from the place of this is what happened or whatnot, but from seeing things from a place of, yes, this is what happened, however, this is I'm the past has passed. I'm out, I'm through, I made it. I still got a little bit of work to do on my mental, but that's okay. We're just going to do the work. We're just going to do the work. And so that's what we are going to find in this book that God has given me to write. And so again, the book is still available. you are still able to pre-sell the book. For those, again, who have already reserved their copy, I truly, truly do appreciate your love and your support. For those who haven't, again, you can go to my website, youshallovercome.com, and purchase your copy. And I will get that signed for you and get that mailed to you, or you can pick it up in person if you're local. So I encourage you. I encourage you, if you've already purchased, even purchase one for a loved one, purchase one for a friend, purchase one for that coworker, that aunt, that uncle, that niece, that nephew, that father, that brother, someone who wrestles with trauma and needs some language for what they've experienced, or need some assistance getting through it and navigating that space. The holidays are coming up. It will make a great Christmas gift. It'll make a great birthday gift. It'll make a great anniversary present. It'll make a great, just because it's Thursday, gift. It doesn't have to be a holiday or a special occasion, just for the fact that, I thought about you, and I know that this is something that will help you along your journey. And so, again, the website is youshallovercome.com. I'm sure on Facebook you guys have seen it. YouTube, you guys have seen it. TikTok, I'm sure you guys have seen it. Several of you have purchased. The email list is growing. And I thank God that we still have the opportunity to pre-sale, that we don't have to cut it off, because I don't want anybody to miss out on the opportunity to purchase. I don't want anyone to miss out on the opportunity to pre-sale. Will the book still be available later? Absolutely. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, it's not going to be available the way that it is now, to where you'd be able to get it autographed and things like that. And so I don't want you to miss out on that experience. So, with that said, thank you so much for joining me. Again, thank you so much for your love and for your support. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And listen, you're not what happened to you. You don't have to succumb to that. That does not have to be the reality that you resign to. There are resources available, and this book is definitely a resource. You can make it. You can get through. You will overcome. That is your destiny. That is what God has for you, and you just have to tap into it. And this book is going to help you tap into that. And I believe that there are going to be tens of thousands, of hundreds of thousands, I'm going to even say millions of people who this book will reach their hands, and they are going to be able to share testimonies to the glory and honor of God about what He has done in their life as a result of their reading this book. So again, thank you all for joining. Thank you so much for your time. Have an amazing evening, and I look forward to meeting you all in the future. If I don't already know you, I look forward to seeing your order come through. I look forward to personally signing the book for you. I look forward to autographing it for you and writing you a love note, a thank you note for your love and your support. And I pray the favor and blessing of the Lord over your life. You guys have an amazing evening and be blessed. Bye.